Some words are just fun, flummoxed, bumbershoot, kerfuffle. They roll off the tongue, spark a smile, and make you sound like you've stepped out of a British detective novel. They're the kind of words you might use to lighten a conversation or win a round of Scrabble. But then there are words that land with the thud of a law book, words that carry the weight of history and consequence: treason, espionage, and today's topic, seditious conspiracy. These aren't just words, they're accusations that can shake the foundations of a nation. Just last week, on July 17, 2025, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard hurled that term, seditious conspiracy, right into the heart of Washington, D.C. She accused former Obama officials of orchestrating a years-long coup, a plot that, if true, would be one of the most explosive scandals in American political history. This wasn't a podcast hot take or a late-night tweet storm. This was the sitting DNI, a Trump appointee, standing at a podium and formally accusing her predecessors of sabotaging Trump's presidency. The charge? That they manufactured intelligence about Russian interference to undermine the legitimacy of his election and administration. Gabbard's bombshell didn't stop at words. She's sending her findings to the Department of Justice for a criminal referral. That means she's not just making noise, she's asking for prosecutions for real legal consequences. The result? Political chaos and a media firestorm. Supporters call it long overdue truth-telling, a reckoning for deep state corruption. Critics, meanwhile, call it a dangerous stunt, a reckless escalation that could tear at the fabric of democracy. This isn't just partisan bickering, this is an official accusation of one of the gravest crimes against the state. Seditious conspiracy is a charge reserved for those accused of plotting to overthrow the government itself. It forces a fundamental question. Did government officials really try to overthrow a sitting president? Or is the nation's top intelligence official now peddling a conspiracy theory of her own? The answer could redefine how Americans view their leaders, their institutions, and even their history. We're now faced with two irreconcilable realities, each with its own set of heroes and villains, each demanding the nation's attention. In one version, the heroes are whistleblowers and intelligence officials, risking everything to warn the public about a compromised candidate and foreign interference in American democracy. In the other, it's Tulsi Gabbard, the bold reformer, exposing a corrupt plot to nullify an election and restore power to the people. The stakes? They couldn't be higher. Either a former president is the villain or the entire intelligence apparatus is. The future of American democracy hangs in the balance. So, let's dive in. Are we witnessing a historic revelation that will change the course of the nation, or just the world's most chaotic press conference, destined to be forgotten in tomorrow's news cycle? Buckle up, because what happens next could shape the country for years to come. This is where the story begins, a moment that could echo through history or fade into political noise. Let's find out. Who is Tulsi Gabbard? For some, she's a familiar face on the national stage, but for many, her story is anything but typical. She's no ordinary political figure. Gabbard has always stood out, refusing to follow the script or play by the usual rules of Washington. Once a Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii and an Iraq War veteran, she built her brand as an anti-establishment maverick, famously quitting the DNC to back Bernie Sanders in 2016, a move that shocked party insiders and made headlines nationwide. After a 2020 presidential run spent attacking her own party's leadership and policies, she left the Democrats, called them elitist warmongers, and became a Fox News regular, embracing a new political identity that defied easy categorization. Now she's Trump's Director of National Intelligence, overseeing the CIA, NSA, and more, an unprecedented rise for someone who once challenged the very institutions she now leads. Her claims now carry the full weight and authority of the intelligence community, giving her words a new level of significance and scrutiny. Supporters see her as a principled truth-teller, unafraid to cross party lines or challenge the status quo to expose corruption and speak out for what she believes is right. Critics, however, see a political opportunist, someone who abandoned progressives to gain power by attacking deep state institutions and aligning with her former adversaries. Either way, her unique and unpredictable journey makes her the perfect, or perhaps the most dangerous messenger for this bombshell revelation. And that's why in this moment her words matter more than ever. Gabbard claims to have over 100 pages of newly declassified Obama-era documents. Her centerpiece, a 2016 intelligence assessment saying Russia likely couldn't alter vote tallies. She argues this was suppressed to fuel a false narrative that Russia hacked the election for Trump. To her supporters, this is the smoking gun, a manufactured crisis to delegitimize Trump. But legal experts call her evidence thin gruel. No serious investigation ever claimed Russia changed votes. The consensus was always about influence, not hacking results. Gabbard's document doesn't contradict that. Critics say she's cherry-picking, ignoring the broader context. So, is this a Rosetta Stone or just a single out-of-context sentence? The debate rages on. Gabbard's claims clash with years of investigations. The bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee found Russia ran a massive influence campaign to help Trump, detailing hacking, leaks, and social media manipulation. Special Counsel Mueller's report echoed this, sweeping interference, but not enough evidence for a criminal conspiracy. Even Trump's hoped-for vindication, the Durham report, found FBI sloppiness, but no grand plot. For Gabbard's theory to hold, you'd have to believe she found what 4 major investigations missed. That's a tall order. The evidence just isn't there. So, what is seditious conspiracy? It might sound like a dramatic phrase you'd hear in a political thriller, but it's actually a very specific and serious crime under U.S. law. Under U.S. law, it's not just being mad at the government, it's 2 or more people conspiring to overthrow or hinder the government by force. This isn't about heated debates or even loud protests. It's about a coordinated plan to use violence or force to disrupt how the government works. The key is conspiracy, and by force. It's not enough to just talk about change or even to be angry. There has to be a real, actionable plan to use force, and it has to involve more than one person. Political maneuvering, harsh rhetoric, or even launching a flawed investigation doesn't qualify. Democracy is built on disagreement and debate, and those things are protected, even if they get messy. Prosecutors need proof of a concrete plan to use force. That means evidence of meetings, communications, or actions that show a real intent to physically challenge the government's authority. That's why legal experts dismiss Gabbard's claims. Even if Obama officials hyped the Russian threat, there's no evidence of a plot to use force. Without that, the accusation simply doesn't fit the legal definition. Launching an FBI investigation is an act of government, not an act of force against it. Investigations, even controversial ones, are part of the system, not an attack on it. Disagreeing with the referee isn't the same as tackling them to stop the game. There's a big difference between protest and physical interference. Gabbard is accusing officials of protest, but labeling it as insurrection. She's blurring the line between strong opposition and actual violence. Misusing this term drains it of meaning and trivializes real threats to democracy. When we call every disagreement an insurrection, we risk ignoring the true dangers. It's a charge that should be reserved for the most extreme cases, when there's clear evidence of a violent plot to overthrow the government, not just political conflict or controversy. After January 6th, we know what seditious conspiracy really looks like. We saw a mob storm the Capitol using force to stop the transfer of power. Stuart Rhodes, Oath Keepers founder, was convicted because prosecutors proved he conspired to use force. That's the benchmark. When Gabbard uses the same term for FBI agents and analysts, it blurs the line between flawed investigations and armed insurrection. It risks diluting the severity of January 6th and fueling paranoia that can lead to violence. Words matter, especially when they build worlds where every disagreement is a fight for the nation's soul. That's why the reaction to Gabbard's words is so fierce. So what's Tulsi Gabbard's goal? Is she a courageous whistleblower exposing rot at the core of government? Her supporters think so. Or is this a calculated political move, making herself indispensable to Trump and his base, angling for higher office? Maybe it's a media strategy. In a world of endless content, the boldest claim wins. Seditious conspiracy is a headline that dominates the news cycle. By forcing the debate onto her terms, she's already won a victory, regardless of the facts. Ultimately, is she truth teller, political operator, or media master? Maybe all 3. The DOJ, led by Attorney General Pam Bondi, must now decide whether to act. And we, the public, are left to wonder: historic unmasking or just the next chapter in America's political drama?